Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Chikoff. I am your instructor for adolescent development. This may not be your section number, but I'm just going through a section giving some information. I will record videos throughout the term so that we can go over important information that you might not be able to find on your own or might just need a little bit more explanation for. So if you click on the discussions tab, you're going to see a general questions board, and in there you can post any questions you have. I will post sample assignments in here. You can click them, download them, use them as a reference. So if you're confused after going through the assignment guidelines and rubrics, you can find an example of the same assignment on the samples thread in the general discussion. If you don't see something you're looking for, please just send me an email and I can send you an example. But most likely you'll find it on this general questions board. We're going to just quickly go over the rubric for the different assignments. If you go and start here, just on your learning modules, you'll find the tab for assignments, guidelines, and rubrics. What I want to point out is on the discussion, for exemplary credit, it does say you must use rich and significant detail. What this means is somewhere within your discussion, and this pretty much goes for every single discussion except for week 8, you will need to reference the text. So, and using an in-text citation. So in one of your weeks, you'll be talking about rites of passage. You might find an outside article that you're reading. You might just be using the text, but you'll say, for example, according to Smith, and then in parentheses, 2016, a traditional rite of passage for the Jewish religion would be a bar mitzvah. And during this celebration, they do X, Y, and Z. So each discussion, you will need to reference some form of text, whether it's something you found doing a search on your own, whether if you have clicked on the extra reading articles that I've put on the announcements or used your text, you will need some form of scholarly or rich and significant detail to get into this exemplary section. Now we're going to go on to the annotated bibliography. This is going to be due in Module 3, and right here in the rubric, it shows you a sample of exactly how to do it. So you're going to put the reference first, you're going to fill out the annotation, and then you're going to copy the abstract from the author. Once you get down here into the rubric, you'll see why. If you do not put the abstract for the author, from the author, you won't be able to even get proficient credit. It will go into needs improvement. So you must have that abstract from the author. The annotation tells you exactly what to do. You want to summarize the main conclusions of each resource, talk about the main points. There is an example on the general questions board that you can look at. And then 2 or more scholarly resources. I will have another video on how to make sure your resources are peer reviewed. But this is just the basics of the annotated bibliography rubric. So just make sure that you have a good annotation and then you follow it up with the abstract. Let's go into the journal. In the journal rubric, you'll notice here each rubric has a connections box. So this is going to be where you integrate course material. So although it's a journal assignment and you're going to be talking about your virtual teen that you're raising, you need to connect that with the material from the text. So for instance, one week if we're talking about egocentrism and how teens, they think that everyone is worried about what they're thinking about, you can integrate that right into your text. So you may just say, my teen fits the description as described by Arnett 2017 when they discuss ego, blah, blah, blah. So just connect the text to your journal. Each time you have a journal article, I use the same rubric every week. And then your literature review, you're going to, again, this will be due, I believe it's week 5. So I just want to point out a couple things. Sorry. This is our week off, so I'm home with my kids. You may hear them in the background. They're supposed to be quiet, but anyway, so you are going to need to have 2 resources, and you're going to follow all of the elements here on the rubric. Proper citation, mechanics. What I will say about the literature review, you can use the same articles that you used for your annotated bibliography. However, you will notice when you get to the rough draft, for research incorporates more than 2 scholarly resources. If you use the same articles for your literature review that you used for your annotated bibliography, when it comes time for the rough draft, you're only going to have 2 peer-reviewed resources. So you're automatically going to lose 15% of that element of the rubric just because you used the same resources. So it's always my suggestion that you get 2 new resources when you do that assignment. And now we'll go into the guidelines and I'll explain why. So in the guidelines for your research paper, it says, hang on one second. You will pick a research topic that falls under this umbrella. So there are a few different options, and we'll talk more about this in week 2. But when you select a topic, you are going to write a research paper based on this topic. So you're going to come up with a thesis statement, and what a thesis statement is different from a research question. So we're not performing any research, we're not proposing any research. We are actually looking at a topic that has already been tested, proved, and is considered a scholarly topic in the field of psychology. So you're going to pick one topic under this umbrella, and then you are going to use your annotated bibliography and your literature review articles. So let's say you have 4 articles, 2 for the annotated bibliography and 2 for the literature review. You are going to analyze those articles in the body of your paper. So you'll have an introduction that basically says something about, if we're picking impact of geography on the sequence of development, we will say something in our thesis, and I'm just throwing something out of there. It needs to be a little bit more bold than this, but geography plays an important role in the development of adolescents. For instance, living in a rural area limits the amount of family time children spend with their parents. You will want to make sure this has already been researched and that you can find articles to back this up. So you're not looking to research that question, you are looking to prove that the study has already been done. So then you will search in the library, the Shapiro Library, for articles that support that statement, and then you'll read those articles and you will write an analysis. So as you're talking about that, you will talk about Smith 2017. In his research, he used 54 families and studied them over a 6-week period. You use the research part and you analyze what is going to go in your paper. Once you've put the introduction together, analyze the articles, you need to have more. Remember, I showed you more than 2, so there needs to be at least 3 different articles that are analyzed. Use critical thinking. Then you'll close it up with a conclusion. And then you will put your original annotated bibliography and your original literature review. right into the assignment. So we do these assignments week by week so that as you're building this, when you write your rough draft, you already have all the information put together to just go ahead and write that analysis. So as you're putting this together, I just want you to keep in mind the annotated bibliography and the literature review are not the meat and bones of your paper. You will still need a body to your paper. So do not copy the literature review right after the introduction, because that's not considered the body of the paper. So that gets us the topic and the format, and then this just tells you when everything is due, and then of course here is the rubric for the final paper. So those are the main, oh, and then we have a short paper. Sorry, let me go over that. So the short paper, again, you're going to have information in order to get exemplary credit. You're going to want to have citation integration, so information from the text cited within the paper. And there will be a sample short paper in the general questions as well. So that is just a basic overview of the different assignments that you'll do each week. You'll either do a journal or a short paper. You won't do them both at the same time. You'll also have some quizzes that you do through your MyLab. So I like to do the videos to just kind of make sure you understand, keep you going, keep you up to date. The best advice I can give is to not get behind, especially with your final paper milestones, because then you're just playing catch up and it's a lot harder to work backwards. As far as the late policy, responses are never accepted after Sunday night at midnight. So if you don't get your discussion, if you get your discussion turned in by Thursday, which is the deadline, it can be turned in late, the original post, but just any responses to your peers must be turned in by Sunday. Responses to your peers must be turned in by Sunday or they won't be accepted. So if you have questions about that, please email me. The rest of your assignments will always be accepted 1 week from the due date for a 10% deduction. I'm very strict with that. I want to grade everyone on the same guidelines. So there are extenuating circumstances, obviously weather nationwide. I will be informed through SNHU if there's weather that's impacting students. If you are in the hospital, something like that, email me. If you know of things ahead of time, I'm much more lenient to give you an extension than if you email me after the fact and let me know, hey, this is what happened. You're still able to turn it in. It's just 10% of your grade is deducted. So I'm very, very strict on that 10% rule, but I will accept assignments with the 1 week late policy. So if you have any other questions, please put them on the general questions board, kind of look around, make sure you're familiar with everything, and definitely watch the videos. Sometimes there's extra credit in the videos, just a few points, but that can definitely make a difference in the end. So keep an eye out for the videos, watch them, and email me if you have any questions. So I hope to hear from you guys soon. Bye-bye.